Welcome to the Invisible Wheelchair Podcast. This podcast was recorded December 10th, 2021. And this is an off the cuff podcast, and it's going to be a little different because what we're talking about today is 2021 and the Invisible Wheelchair Podcast. And this week, coming up starting Sunday, we have the best of the Invisible Wheelchair Podcast for 2021. And I kind of wanted to talk about this year and what it has meant for myself and for the podcast. Uh, 2021, for those of you that might be listening to this in the future at some point, 2020 and 2021 were the years of pandemics. We're still kind of dabbling in it or in it now. It's hard to tell where we really are with it. Everything's very confused and kind of split up. But this year has been one of a lot of good stuff and a lot of stuff that was challenging. You know, we are still, as a family, dealing with a child my second child, that is having to suffer with OCD and what we have had to go through in doing that. Um, and because of that, we have started in therapy with no CD, or a lot of people see it as NOCD, which in fact, if you look in the archives of this podcast, you will see my interview with Stephen Smith, who is the founder of No CD. And he claims that the title of the company is, or the name of the company, is really about no CD, meaning no compulsions with this disorder. I think something like that. I'm trying to remember what the D is now. It just kind of blanked there for a minute on the D part. But so we're involved with that, and it's been going pretty well. We've just really kind of got cranked up on it. So, that's been a challenge for us all year. We've had to deal with that on top of the pandemic, and trying to get it settled out and get it to a manageable place. And it's been tough. It's been quite a few years of dealing with it. So, and then this year, just recently actually, I had the opportunity to sign on with a speaker agent so that I'm going to be going around the world, I think, speaking speaking on parenting, anxiety, OCD, quite a few different topics that I'm going to be covering. So you can look for me going around speaking. Hopefully the podcast will continue. We're looking at we are doing some things as far as I'm really focusing down now on my practice called Focus Healthy Family. The speaking will be I will be part of that will be I will be a speaker, and it'll be within that boundaries of that practice. And with that's going to come, I'm really kind of folding down and closing up Family OCD, FamilyOCD.com, and the Family OCD uh, Facebook page, which is still up right now, but it's going to be probably closed down by the end of the year. So those are kind of some of the stuff that's going on. Like I said, I want to put more focus on the Focused Healthy Family, and with that, my wife has been coming into the practice and starting to do more. So we're going to be doing more there. Look for a new podcast. We're going to do one uh, called The Focused Healthy Family, and we've already kind of started doing some recording on it. I'm hoping to have it going somewhere around the first part of the year. January, February is our goal in getting that up. So, we've done some great interviews over this past year, over the life of this podcast. I'm really proud of the fact that we've gotten some of the real strong professionals that are in this business that are helping people with their OCD. We are also covering a lot of really pertinent topics and information. We even hit on some stuff that was I don't know if I'd say controversial, but a little bit more on edge. We had an interview with Amy Lang, and she works with families, parents, helping them learn how to talk to their kids about sex and how to say it, how to word it, how to approach it. And it was a wonderful, she's a really neat person. In fact, I'm really looking to possibly get her back on because it was a really neat conversation. And I think it's something we need to address. And we specifically talked about the same kind of scenario about how do you talk to kids who are in special need, who have some um, uh, disorders and things like that. How do you talk to them when they have anxiety? And so, like I said, we cover some great topics when it comes to the podcast. We've been doing this now. We're going on our fifth year. 2022 will be our fifth year of doing the podcast. So every year at the end of the year, and that's what I'm introducing with this podcast today, is our best of, which will come um, Sunday, the December 12th of 2021. It will come on the first one, and then it'll go all week, one per day each week, of looking back at this year and some of the best, uh, the best, most um, popular. I'm trying to find words here. The most popular podcast I did this year. Things like ways of handling anxiety during the pandemic. Uh, we talked about things like postpartum OCD. We talked about the different types of the harm OCD. I think we talked about sexual OCD. We talked about postpartum OCD, and what was fun about that one is that it was with an OCD therapist who went through postpartum OCD herself. After working years in helping and being a therapist with OCD, she actually went through it. She didn't go through it at the beginning. She went through it in the middle of her practice. And she talked about how it affected her life and how it affected her practice. We did she did her stories from the OCD side, plus she then went and I interviewed her and we really talked even more. So that's up there. I did one on I want to be positive. And I figured that being that it's the end of the year and the first of a brand new year, we always want to set goals and resolutions for ourselves, which I like to think of. Uh, I have a hard time with goals myself in setting them, so I really just look at laying out some of the things that I'd like to do and put it in more milder terms. But anyway, I figured talking about how to get yourself to a positive place um, for the start of a new year. And this one again comes from this past year. It doesn't talk about how to do it based on a new year. It just talks about how can you be more positive and how do you do it. So there's just a couple examples. There's, like I said, it's a whole week of the kind of throwbacks to the past podcast from this 2021 day. So last thing that I'd like to ask you in this podcast, and I come to you asking this as a favor. I'd like to do just a little bit of a survey because what I really want to be able to do is to hone this podcast down to a place where we're giving you the information you want to hear. We're giving you information that will help you, that will guide you, that will be informative for you, and not just putting stuff up there to put stuff up there. So what I'm going to ask you to do is on the site, on the invisiblewheelchair.com, I am going I am putting a survey up there and asking you, it's really pretty much three questions that I believe I'm going to ask there. What is it like? What is it you like about the podcast? What would you change? And then finally, what would you like to hear? That's a biggest thing. I want to know what you're feeling, what you would like to get information on. How can I help you get more and better educated about OCD, about anxiety, and what you can do about it. So I'm going to give you this. I'm going to have this up there till the end of the year. So this is the 24th that this is going to be playing on. That gives you about 7 days to go in and do the survey. And if you do it in that time frame, I am going to send to you a copy of my book. Now, that when I'm saying that, this is the draft of the book. The book is, I'm getting ready to publish my first book, and it's called OCD, Leave Us the F Alone. And so I will send you, it'll be a PDF format of it. Right now, it's, it's really going over my journey with my daughter, my first daughter, and now part of it with my second daughter. So, and it's really all about how frustrating I've gotten, how sick and tired I am of OCD, and I want it gone. But I will send you the copy of it, so you'll see it before it's published, before it comes a hardcover or softcover book. You'll get the draft of it, and right now it's being edited by my wife. But I will send you that, no charge, a PDF where you'll be able to read about our journey through all of this. So I really would love to have you give me your thoughts and opinion and ideas for the podcast so we can make it even better in 2022. So again, simply go to the invisiblewheelchair.com website, and you'll see a place there for the survey, and you fill it out, and I will send that to you. Like I said, just if you could go to that before the end of the year. In other words, by December 31st of 2021. And I wish you very much the best of the holidays, and hopefully that 2022 is going to serve you well and be prosperous for you. I know I'm hoping that for myself. I'm ready for that. We've had 2 years of this pandemic stuff, that it would be nice to have a year where things open up, where we open up our hearts, where we get back to being humans again. So I appreciate all of you that are listening to this for being supportive of me in this podcast. And I hope that you will give me your thoughts and continue with us through the many years to come. And also, one last thought is go to our Invisible Wheelchair Podcast Facebook page and give us a like there too. So get the book, do the survey, and have a wonderful holiday. Take care now. Thanks.